Hi there, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for joining me today on this presentation presented by Aspen Wealth Management and Trust. Our presenter today is Tony Oliver. So without further ado, I'll turn it on over to him to begin the presentation.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tony Oliver. As Kathleen said, I'm a relationship manager here with AFMA Wealth Management and Trust. And today we're going to be talking about overcoming unexpected life events. As I said, my name is Tony Oliver, and I'm going to be discussing unexpected life events or how to overcome or deal with them financially. So here's a quick view of our topics. We'll be discussing or talking about our organization steps, the plans for financial emergencies, incapacity planning, and death planning. Our mission here at AFMA Wealth Management Trust is to be the premier provider of financial planning, investment management, and trust services for the American Armed Forces community. You spend a lifetime building your legacy. We help preserve it for generations. Why work with us? Our goal is to help ensure the financial security and independence of members of the Armed Forces community, active, retired, and honorably discharged service members and their families. We serve our clients by building an ongoing relationship with them, focusing on their individual needs and meeting those needs through our significant experience in the financial world. I've been in the financial sector for over 25 years. I was actually Wealth Manager of the Year in Seattle Magazine when I lived out there, and I've been a Wealth Manager of the Year in Atlanta Magazine for several years as well. Planning for the present. There are several steps you can take today that will help protect you and your family in the event of an emergency. AFMA Wealth Management Trust offers financial planning services to help map out your financial future so you can navigate your own path with peace of mind and protection. You don't need to spend your future savings on the surprise bills if you stick to the plans we map out for your future. Benefits of having a financial plan. The CFP board recently found that people who have a financial plan save twice as much as those without one. As a first step, I strongly recommend creating a financial plan with the professional assistance of an AFMA Wealth Management and Trust member. Emergencies are expensive, and money will give you the flexibility when something goes wrong. A financial plan can give you peace of mind. I have completed over 3,000 plans in my career. With financial roadmaps detailing where you are and where you want to be, it's my job to help to get you there. A financial plan can help you live comfortably too. The key to enjoying life is finding contentment, so focus on making the most of what you have rather than fretting about what you don't have. For starters, we're going to just address something called an emergency fund. An emergency fund is a stash of money set aside to cover the financial surprises life throws us. You should have at least 6 months of expenses saved for a couple and 9 months if single in your emergency fund. For example, a new roof can cost over $10,000. A replacement of a stove as much as $2,200. These are hard to pay up front. The most significant benefit to savings, though, it keeps your stress level down. An emergency ID wristband, maybe like a dog tag. This is a true story. My wife was walking on a long biking trail and she heard a noise behind her. Turning around, she saw a young lady on a bike had crashed. Thank goodness she had her helmet on, but she was still incoherent. My wife tried talking to her, but the girl was too confused to recall any personal details. She had her cell phone, but it would not unlock for passcode. My wife ultimately had to call 911, and by the time the EMTs arrived, they still had no idea who this young lady was. When you're out jogging, bicycling, or other places, perhaps consider wearing an ID tag. Student loans. Did you know if you co-sign a student loan, you're responsible for paying the balance of the loan if something happened to the student or happened and the student's unable to pay? Here's a suggestion. The student needs to have a term life insurance policy to cover the balance of the loan. Here's a little bit extra. Ideally, some disability insurance would be in place as well in the event the student is injured and not able to pay the loan. Homeowners insurance and an umbrella policy, are they up to date? Your home is your refuge. If you purchased your home for $300,000 and today it's worth $500,000, it may not be fully insured. Check with your insurance agent annually or sooner if something happens. The same should apply for your auto insurance as well. A personal umbrella policy is a type of insurance designed to add extra liability coverage over and above another policy in the event of a lawsuit. This is especially important if you own rental property. Here's an example. I was invited to join on a board of directors. That's when I discovered I could have extra liability. Therefore, I bought an umbrella policy. Fortunately, it's underused but very inexpensive insurance, usually about $15 to $20 a month. Disability insurance. 90% of the long-term disabilities occur from illness, not accidents. Disability insurance is usually very cost-effective through your employer and well worth considering. Unfortunately for the self-employed, it can be expensive and might be easier to have an emergency fund instead. Incapacity. Death is an unfortunate inevitability. It happened to everyone before us, and there doesn't seem to be a cure. It's one reason we have life insurance, to cover our financial responsibilities and care for our loved ones. We may have to divvy up our assets at death. It's usually not something we look forward to, but we know it's going to happen. Yet we never expect to become incapacitated. Each year, countless people become unable to manage their affairs. For some, it's a temporary illness or an injury that removes their ability to function. Others become unable to manage their affairs on a more permanent basis due to Alzheimer's disease or dementia. Incapacity planning. An incapacity plan is not a single document. Instead, a good plan includes a variety of tools, each of which serves a different purpose. Your incapacity plan could consist of some or all of the following. Ask yourself, who's minding the store? The benefits of long-term care insurance. The benefits of loved ones received from a long-term care policy depends on the type of policy they purchase. It's not a cookie cutter. Educate yourself, know what you want, get what you pay for, and make sure it covers everything you want, or do not buy it. Inflation protection is vital when keeping up with the rising medical costs. Here's some benefits listed that from a long-term care policy. It helps preserve savings and assets for family and friends, helps maintain one's financial independence, often eliminates the need to borrow money from a long-term care cost, release family members and friends of caregiving tasks, allows the loved one to choose where and when to receive care from a nursing home or assisted living facility. Living will or advanced health care directive. Making healthcare decisions for yourself is hard enough, but what if you have to make a decision for a loved one who's unable to speak or communicate their wishes? What about you? What kind of medical care would you want if you were in a vegetative state? As unpleasant as it may be, address it while you're healthy. Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, better known as HIPAA. The purpose of HIPAA is to ensure the privacy of patients is protected while allowing health data to flow freely between authorized individuals for certain healthcare decisions. Do not resuscitate order. The document states the conditions under which you refuse to accept resuscitation measures, such as CPR. Again, you don't want to be in a case where you have to make a decision on a loved one, whereas if you have this in place, it takes the burden off your loved ones. Healthcare power of attorney. Healthcare power of attorney, also known as a healthcare surrogate, is a legal document that designs someone to make medical choices on your behalf. Durable power of attorney for finances. Like a healthcare power of attorney, the financial power of attorney can take effect immediately or upon some later event, such as you losing your capacity. A power of attorney allows your chosen representative to use funds from your bank account to pay for your bills. Revocable living trust. By placing your property in a revocable trust, it avoids probate. This is an excellent tool if you own a vacation home causing ancillary probate in another state. Also, when you create a trust, you'll choose a trustee who will manage the property the trust owns. It ensures the property the trust owns will be cared for should you lose capacity. Incapacity plans can and should change as you age. Moving to a new state, each state has laws about incapacity planning. If you move to a new state, you'll probably need a new will, though most trusts remain valid in a new state of residence. Change in relationship status, getting married, divorce, or death of a spouse. Having a child, who's going to take care of the children if something happens to you? Starting a business, you need to be prepared to transfer your duties to someone that can manage the responsibilities. Becoming injured or ill, anytime you suffer a significant injury or illness, you want to review your incapacity plan. For example, if you have Alzheimer's disease or dementia, you want to make sure your healthcare surrogate can manage your affairs before your cognitive abilities degrade. Time and aging. As we get older, our medical and personal circumstances can change without warning. Death. Benjamin Franklin echoed this sentiment and highlights the only inevitabilities expected in life: death and taxes. Death visits us when we least expect it. The IRS is a bit more predictable, yet death happens to all of us at any age, even the young and healthy men and women. Take a moment to ask, do you want your surviving relatives caught flat-footed and penniless, or do you want to have a plan that takes the unexpected burden off their shoulders? Beneficiaries and contingent beneficiaries. Simple but neglected. Put beneficiaries and contingent beneficiaries in all your accounts or update them. Life changes faster than our beneficiaries do. How would you feel if your ex-spouse inherited a 401k or your life insurance? Make sure you have all the right information when adding the new beneficiary information. Had a true story, had a client in my office, second marriage, his first and second wife was named Kathy. I looked at the beneficiary's name and said Kathy. I thought I should dig deeper, and sure enough, it was a Social Security from his first wife or his ex-wife. If he would have died that day, his ex-wife would have gotten all of the benefits, not his current wife. So double check your beneficiaries and make sure you update them. Don't accidentally disinherit your heirs. Transfer on death, or better known as TOD accounts, are not subject to probate because they transfer automatically to the beneficiary when the owner dies. It is used on bank accounts, brokerage accounts, and other non-qualified accounts. It may also be called a payable on death, or POD. You can also have several beneficiaries listed on the account. They receive their balance of the account in the proportion specified by the owner. Here's a good idea. Excuse me. Many single parents add their only child to their checking account in case something happens to the parent. Adding a child, however, makes it a joint account and leads into our next example. Bad idea. Mom is a widow. She has 3 children, John, Sally, and James. Mom opens a joint account with John to help pay with the bills. This helps logistically with the family, but Mom just disinherited Sally and James. A TOD designation could solve this problem. Life insurance equals peace of mind. I remember in college, I had an insurance class, and the very first day, Insurance 101, that's what my professor said: life insurance equals peace of mind, or insurance in general. Along the way, though, due to a death, there are certain periods of time that we need some help. There's a readjustment period. It's the time needed for the family to readjust to changes in income. It is common for employers to offer a 3-day of paid time off for bereavement. You want to have additional funds to be at home for emotional support for children. Spouse retirement income replaces or supplements deceased Social Security benefits and retirement plan benefits. Child rearing. You may need funds for new child care or educational costs like orthodontics or daycare. Mortgage redemption fund, usually the largest household expense. This fund helps pay the mortgage. Education fund, this covers college expenses for your children. Estate settlement, the funds needed to pay estate taxes, burial expenses, and debts of the estate left unpaid. Federal taxes are due 9 months after death. Average funeral costs vary from $7,000 to $10,000, and average cremation range from $2,000 to $4,000. Emergency, we've talked about that before. An emergency fund should consist of 6 months of expenses for a couple and 9 months of expenses if you're single. Last will and testament. Everyone needs a will. If you're establishing a trust or adjusting other assets, other estate documents, then you should probably revisit your will. Life and family can change quickly, so it's important to review your will, make sure it aligns with your trust documents and other estate documents. Just like a trustee that manages and handles the trust assets, an executor would execute the terms of the will. Any assets, property, or other possessions that might not be in your trust can be addressed through your will. A great example might be a car. Cars are typically not held in a trust, but can be addressed and handled by the executor of a will. Death of a family member of a loved one. Psychologists tell us that those suffering a loss of a loved one or diagnosed with a terminal illness will go through 5 stages of grief. 1, denial and isolation. 2, anger. 3, bargaining. 4, depression. And 5, acceptance. Life insurance benefits aren't meant to replace the emotional and physical loss, but they can help ease the burden for surviving members. Burial benefits or VA memorial benefits. The VA can help with burial benefits even in private cemeteries. With over 130 national cemeteries across 40 states and no charge to veterans, it's available for veterans, spouses, and eligible family members. For eligibility, you can apply at your funeral home. Military families can wait up to 49 weeks for burial of loved ones at Arlington National Cemetery due to high demand for gravesite ceremonies and the increasing mortality rates of older veterans. Just recently heard this, but they expect to reach capacity at Arlington National Cemetery in 2041. Currently, there are 22 living eligible military members eligible right now, and they have only 95,000 spaces currently available. Not making a plan can be more expensive than making one. The cost of making a plan differs depending on your needs, location, and what kind of tools you choose to make. Creating a plan costs money, but the cost of not having a plan can be significant. For example, if you don't have a will, a judge will determine who gets what without knowing anything about your family. You can always rely on the probate laws for your state or county, but this may result in people receiving part of your estate that you would prefer otherwise. We are here to help. We understand we can't plan for every event in life. Planning may not prevent an emergency from occurring, but it will help your family and loved ones handle the situation if it occurs. If it helps to have a professional walk through your personal concerns and talk about a possible way to address those issues, it takes time to think about what's right for you, your family, and your assets if something happens. We're here to help you think about the right solutions. Please reach out to me anytime if you have any concerns or need any guidance on your personal financial plans. Others work for their money, but Affluent Wealth Management Trust, your money works for you. We specialize in financial planning, investment management, and trust services. My contact information is here on the slide. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony, for a great presentation. We have here just some common disclosure myths to remind you of to look over in your own time. Please remember that you can reach us anytime that you need to. Tony's information was on that previous slide, and these slides will be able to be downloaded straight from where you're watching this webinar right now. This weekend, you'll have a follow-up email about how to access a recording of this webinar and other and future webinars on afma.com/webinars. And please know that every 2 weeks, we have a new webinar up on the site, afma.com/webinars, for you to view. Thank you again for your time, and we look forward to serving you.